Hello, I'm Gary Quinn, and welcome to another episode of Ready, Set, Live. My guest today is a multi-talented actress, model, singer. She is one of the singers from the multi-platinum Grammy-nominated Pussycat Dolls, a lead singer, and she's in studio via Zoom. Welcome, Camit Bachar.
Hi, Gary.
So great to see you.
Wonderful to see you. It's been a long time. At least we can do the Zoom connections. Uh,
Yes.
yes.
So Carmeet, I know that you took a little time off to have a little girl, and what was it like when you decided I want to have a family and I want to sort of take a break from the Pussycat Dolls?
That was definitely a conscious decision for me. I feel like, I have a little visitor, my dog. I feel like the industry, the entertainment world, it moves so fast, and you can just be on that train and get so focused with your career, and especially for women, we have that biological clock that's ticking, and ultimately I wanted to have a family, and I also didn't want to feel guilty in having to be like, oh, I gotta go work or go on tour, really is what I was thinking. And yeah, I kind of feel like I just stepped out of the spotlight and focused on my life, my family life, and I'm so grateful for that. I have a beautiful 9-year old, and now more than ever we get to be together, which is awesome. But then the reunion happened, so then I was back out, and now she can fully understand it and see mommy living her dreams, and which she had never experienced. She saw some videos, but I don't think she really grasped it until she saw me performing for real and realized the platform that, we have. And it's been a cool experience. So I'm glad that I kind of have those chapters in my life. I'm really grateful for that.
Do you think you will take her on tour, or will she get to see you at some of the shows?
Oh, she's already seen some of the shows, but she'll probably come out and visit tour when that happens.
Okay, yes, when it happens. Now, I didn't know that you were training as a U.S. Olympic athlete as a rhythmic gymnast. I didn't know. I mean, my background is a training for the Olympics as a swimmer. And when I saw that, I go, wow, that's what keeps her in shape and really, that athlete, what we have, we keep going.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, training like that happens kind of really when you're young and you don't realize you're invincible, right? Your body's like at the prime, and you recover from injuries really fast. And I think that, and ironically, like my career in rhythmic gymnastics was from 10 to 19, and by 19 I was considered old, right? That's the funny part, and I retired. But I think you learn so much discipline, and then of course your body muscle memory, which is fantastic. So I've stayed in somewhat of a shape where if I ever don't work out, once I work out, it kind of snaps back, which is fantastic. But I've always been very, physical and uh, prioritize my health, and exercise is definitely part of that.
Well, what's great is I think it gives you that discipline to do what you're doing and able to jump back into the tour.
Yeah.
How was it that you decided to go back to the reunion tour? Was it a collective decision, or did they just call you up and say, we're putting the band back together?
I think it was a conversation like pretty much the entire time after the group disbanded, anyways, because there was so much that we hadn't done. Like, I feel like we hadn't fully reached our potential. I still feel like we haven't reached our full potential. But now we're in a new place, which is kind of cool because we're more evolved, we're grown women, we have kids, marriages, like all kinds of things, that we have different message now, still along the lines of female empowerment, but we have so much more life experience to share and offer. So I'm excited when we can get back into touring and get out there and reconnecting with our fans, because I think now we have a new group of fans that have kind of joined the army, of loyal doll fans, which is really cool. But yeah, it's definitely helped me get back into it and prepare myself for that.
When you jumped into it in the beginning, when you guys became a huge hit, and you guys have had 10 number one, hits around the world, it's almost like a shock when you're in something like that that becomes almost like instant iconic fame. What was it for you? Was it kind of a shock?
You know what's really interesting is that I feel like ironically a long time had passed, like 10 to, for me it was 11 years, but I'm so sorry, I guess that's me, but even though I'm on mute, I don't know how that happened. um but ironically, when we kind of came back into it, it felt like no time had passed at all. We jumped right back into the mode. Our schedule was crazy like it was before, and we knew what that was, so we were just like on our A game all over again, and we have that chemistry. So it went right back. 6 months flew. We were doing that promo, and then just got shut down right before the whole tour was about to take off, which was really unfortunate. So we lost a lot of momentum, but I mean, everybody knows what the deal is, and we're all in this together. So we're looking
Yes.
forward to getting back
And
out.
after you disbanded the first time, did you did if I said what would be the number one takeaway that you learned during that tour and just being a pussycat doll and having a recording contract and singing, what did you walk away with?
I would say I'm so sorry. I don't know what is everything's off. Turn it off. That's actually my daughter asking me for, screen codes to
Right,
passes to accept
right.
that she can play games right now. That's
We'll say
hilarious.
hello to
Yeah,
her.
exactly. I'm like, Daddy, tell her to stop. um, but sorry, please
Oh,
repeat the
oh,
question.
so basically the takeaway of what you know, going on tour, all of a sudden, all these crowds, these fans, it can be a little overwhelming in the beginning, but you come back looking at it saying, wow, I learned.
Can you give me 1 second, baby? I'm literally doing the interview. Thank you, baby. That's the life, right?
Right,
Yeah.
right.
There is no privacy, by the way. There's just no, and parents out there can relate to this because there's no time out, no time off away from the kids. That's a challenge. So yeah.
Well, I think, yeah, you learn patience. That's what you learned.
I do. I mean, she's fantastic. She's such a good girl. I think the takeaway from kind of being, you said, thrown back into it,
Yes.
is really, for me, just staying grounded and remembering the things important. I'm so sorry. Hilarious, right? Um, Staying grounded more than anything, because that world and that life is sometimes can be so fast paced and crazy that you don't get your stillness. And for me, more than anything, now in this place in my life, last year, 2020, I had a health crisis, and it was a journey, spiritually, physically, mentally, emotionally. And I think everybody's had some form of that. And so I really appreciate my stillness and making sure that I do something self care for myself every day, whether it's meditating or something that's for me, that makes sure that I stay, in my body, because that being, in that superstar world, and you're here, you're there, you're doing interviews, you're doing photo shoots, everybody wants a piece of you, and you're just, it's, you become really floaty. And I think that I appreciate what that is, because there's a part of me that loves that fast pace, thing and performing more than anything. But the reality is, I really appreciate coming home and being still, and being, not that I'm really still at home, but I can take my moments and go in another room and have 5 million dings happening during the
Right,
interview.
right, right. But I think
But
it's so, yeah, I think it's so important. And I've learned that too, going on tour, is to take time for myself because I didn't used to do it. I would just go, 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 and I would burn out. And I'd come home and I'd be so exhausted at the end of the year, I couldn't do anything. And I think with your schedule and we've had this time to reflect, I think any kind of spiritual wellness that you can do or sacred time for yourself is so important. And that is what you created in the wellness box, the grace and gratitude box. Tell me about that.
yes, oh my goodness. It was so exciting to kind of, well, look, we all have a list of many things that we want to do, right? As creatives, we're like, oh, I want to do this, I want to do that. I'm sure this podcast was on your list, right?
Yes.
And so I was like, there's so many tools that I use that I would love to share with people. And I said, why don't I create this box that of goodies that I love. And so I created, made from essential oils, a cleansing candle, and smudge spray. Like if you can't burn a candle or burn something, it also has Palo Santo, sage, and selenite and black tourmaline. So it's cleansing and protection. And then my daughter loves to put in, and she chooses an affirmation card and she puts it in. And I love that because I feel like, her touch is whatever message anybody gets is the perfect one for them. But that's what she gets to contribute to the box. It's super fun. And I put a little message in there. And I loved creating it. Now my daughter's all inspired to make her own box as well.
Uh-huh.
Um, but it's been fun to do something different and a way for me to share some of the tools that have really helped me along my path and my journey.
In this box, now when is this available?
It's available right now. The link is in my bio on my Instagram,
Okay.
which
And
is
we have the Instagram up on the board here at the Real Carmeet.
yes, I am the real
And
Camit, all platforms.
is there any new albums that you've recorded that's coming out? I know there were several in the past, but what's the new album coming out?
Um, the hope is that the Dolls do release some new music. That's kind of been in the works for a while, but there's been a lot of moving parts and pieces to this puzzle. Two of the girls are in the UK. We're all on different continents, basically, so it's complicated. And I apologize for all these dings. I really don't know how to turn them off on my computer. I turned off iChat. My phone is off, so I apologize. Um, but yeah, it's complicated, but that's the hope, that we come out with at least some new music before we can get out there and do the tour again, whenever that happens, hopefully this year. I'm really hoping and praying by fall.
Well, I saw something you posted, and you really are still looking incredibly in shape. So, are you physically dancing every day, or what's the regiment?
I wish. I actually really miss dancing. Dancing is been like a void for me. Like, unless I'm doing the dolls and we're rehearsing all the time, I'm not dancing consistently. And now studios are closed, so you can't like go take a class. You can do a Zoom class. It's just not the same as taking like a class with people and vibing and energy. Um, but I do train. I've literally gotten out of shape, gotten into shape, fallen back out of shape. Like, it's just this constant thing. And shape for me means like not working out consistently. And when I feel like I'm physically in that shape, that I feel good, which is probably another level for most people, stamina wise, endurance wise, because when we're on tour, we have to sing and dance together. And it's pretty complicated. Like, if you've ever hiked or done the treadmill, try singing and see how it sounds. It's kind of crazy. So it's an art form in itself. It's one thing to sing, one thing to dance, but then put them together, it's hard. So I have to be in shape to do that.
Well, I'm sure you'll do amazing. You'll get back into shape, no problem. During this time, have you been cooking, or what have you been
Yeah.
preparing that's like a favorite?
Oh my God. You know, I've always loved cooking. Like it's something that I really do love. And once I had my daughter, I just didn't have time to cook as much. I love taking, it's therapeutic. You go to the store, you pick a recipe, you go to the store, you get the things you need, you prepare it. I love cooking with my fiance too, and it just things happen so quick. You just have to like be quick. Oh, gotta make dinner, and get it ready. It's not the same. So now that we've been home and we've had time to prepare, I've been cooking a lot lately, and I really enjoy it. I really do. So
What's the family favorite dish that you make?
the family favorite. We do different things. Like my mom is from Indonesia, so she kind of did a remix on sort of a Asian inspired dish. I mean, you could call it Caribbean and Asian. So she does like a coconut curry chicken with
Mm.
vegetables, and it's like potatoes and carrots and peppers and mushrooms, like everything. And it's so good over rice. So I do that. And then like we always do taco night. It doesn't always have to be Tuesday, but we do taco night, and I do it like fajita style. And everybody loves that because it's like you have all the fixings, and we switch it up all the time. I'm surprised. My daughter likes sushi, which I love sushi. So we're able to kind of like mix and do a lot of different, cultural dinners, which I love.
Great.
Mediterranean, of course.
Who inspires you?
Ooh. So, I mean, honestly, the first person that comes to mind is my daughter and my mom. My daughter every day is just, this fresh, pure soul that everything is like with new eyes. And it reminds me to be playful. It reminds me to be um, not so rigid, or if I have limitations or the way I think about something. And, I mean, kids in general just teach you surrender, right? They just remind you to play and kind of not be so held down by responsibilities. And sometimes I just have to go, let's go. And we just like get off and like go outside. We live across the street from the beach, so that's a really big plus. I don't take that for granted. I know there's people on the East Coast that are freezing.
Right.
um, and yeah, so and then my mom, she's just been such a force in my life. She's my biggest cheerleader. She is so supportive, and literally has every clipping of every paper and every picture and everything that I've ever done. And I'm lucky. I'm just lucky to have her.
That's great. What does love mean to you?
Mm, that one's deep. So because sometimes, even this morning, I told my daughter when I said I love her, I'm like, I just feel like that's not enough. Like it doesn't embody everything that I feel for her. Like I love you. It's just yes, I love you, but there's so much in that word. It just feels like when your heart bursts open and you feel almost that like tingly feeling all over your body, kind of like gratitude, kind of the way when you
Absolutely.
really feel gratitude, when you really embody, not just say it, when you feel it. And I realize I mean, kids, again, my daughter has taught me unconditional love, because as we get older, there are so many conditions that kind of start closing in on love, and who and why we love, how we love people.
And
Um,
and it's so interesting, Carmet. I recently heard a rabbi who I want to interview, who talked about that we come into this life to learn how to love, and when we leave this life, we have to learn to accept and give love. That's all we're supposed to do in this lifetime. And I thought that was so profound, because really love is all there is.
yeah, we start with that, and then we have to figure out how to come back to that.
Correct.
It's a journey, and with all the stuff that we go through, that inhibits that emotion, whether it's pain or trauma or, you know, um, abuse or anything that people have to heal from. But that's really the course. That's our that's our lessons. And if we don't take that away, and then we don't heal and we don't chip away all that stuff, then we don't get to experience love. And so it's the greatest gift to have a child that is a constant reminder, even when I get frustrated with her, you know what I mean, or whatever it is. I can never not surrender and like break free of that, just to love her up, because she is the most pure form of that, you know.
Yep. Yep. It's true. Do you have any fear about the future?
I do. I do. And I'm working on releasing whatever that is, because we've never been able to know what's to come. But I think this pandemic has really been about fear more than anything. And it's we weren't allowed to go out, so we all kind of had to go in, and it's really kind of swirled our world around and forced us to kind of take stock, take, you know, inventory, and of what's really real. What I love about it too is people are craving authenticity more and more now. You know, even from like celebrities, they want to see the real deal, because we're all going through this together. And so I think it's really interesting when you see people, you know, who you might have thought, oh, they're this iconic person and they always look fabulous in their hair and makeup and their outfits. And then they're, you know, on Instagram in their sweats saying, listen, I got COVID or whatever it is. You know what I mean? It's like, there is something real and relatable to that, which I'm kind of happy about that, because there was, you know, some of these reality shows and things that are glorifying this so overly superficial, you know. Even with the Kardashians, the same thing. It's like the perfect look, or the, you know, I need this, I need that to be happier, to be good. And so it's kind of bringing it back down to this real, real what's happening. And that's the new, and we have to create ourselves from that. So there's been this sort of like breakdown to create the breakthrough of like, now we get to create ourselves from almost like nothing. Okay, what is it? What do I want to do? Like, even for businesses, people are like, what am I going to do now? You know, my life,
Correct.
my career, my whole income has changed, and I'm in that place too. You know, it's like, this is all I've known my entire life, and we're all at a complete standstill. So um, that's why the box has been really fun to.
Yes. And I think the thing is, for anybody in the creative arts, is to trust and to have the faith and really know that no matter what is going on, you're going to arrive at the end result. You're going to win. You're going to be okay. You're going to be able to have that success. And I think that's what this pandemic has taught people, to go within and really trust themselves and to just be authentic and continue to grow. Um,
Yeah.
that being said, who, when all of this is, you know, back in the mainstream, when we're all, you know, free to do what we need to do, who would you like to work with? Or what would be your dream to say, Gary, I would love to partner working with this person or do something with this person? Who would that be?
Wow, that's a great question. I feel like I'm trying to think of who comes to mind. I
It could be anything. It could be writing a book, it could be singing a song, it could be creating a line of something.
Yeah, I thought you meant like working with a person. I mean, I know for me, I'm definitely ready to expand, and move into the next chapter, whether it be just a different, you know, I feel like we plateau when we're not learning anything new. So I'm ready to learn something new. I'm ready to take on a challenge. I'm ready to kind of open my mind to whatever the next chapter is for me. I definitely am interested in moving behind the camera as well, whether it be writing, and I have a couple things, you know, in the works that I'm excited about. So maybe that's the next venture. I think it definitely is in the TV world for sure. So yeah, writing for sure. All of that is definitely up the next evolution.
Excellent. When you leave this experience, Carmit, when you leave this lifetime, How do you want to be remembered?
Oh, um, as somebody who was always compassionate, had a good listening for other people's experiences, and a fierce performer.
Wonderful. Well, I can't wait to see you again in person. I want to thank you for spending this time with me together. And if anybody would like to buy your wellness box, they can Instagram you at The Real Carmit.
Yes.
And be on the lookout for, I know the Pussycat Dolls will be going to do a tour. So
Yes.
that will all be announced as we move forward. But I want to
Yes.
thank you, Camit, and it's so wonderful. And we'll see each other very soon.
Thank you, Gary. Yes, thank you guys so much. Carmit here from the Pussycat Dolls. Make sure you stay on top of any listings we come out. I mean, listings. I said listings. Any promotions regarding our tour. And I look forward to seeing all of you. And Gary, congratulations on this podcast.
Thank you. I'm Gary Quinn, and join me for another episode of Ready, Set, Live. Until next time.